How are those who lost coping with the loss, especially after so much investment financially and also emotionally? NTV's Gabriel Kudaka has more on that.
Well, results for various elective seats are out. Some lost, some won. So how are losers coping?
Kwa majina mimi naitwa Alex Kemboi. I was running for MP Concede constituency under independent candidate. So for me, I was prepared to win, but the voters from Concede have decided to postpone my victory to a near future. And I want to say that I didn't spend a lot because most of my campaigns were funded by well-wishers and people who believed in the manifesto that I had. I did spend close to, without not giving an amount, something above 500,000 shillings. My family were prepared because most of them, when I told them that I'm going to run for MP Concede constituency, they couldn't believe that this young man whom they've known could run for MP. My competitors were giants. Some of them had a lot of money. Others had blessings from the dominant party in our region. And you can be sure most people thought I was joking. But I was very serious and I was determined to come work for the people of Concede.
My name is William Kirwa. I was contesting for governor on a UDM ticket, which is part of Azimio in Uasin Gishu County. This has been quite a tough experience, but an interesting one as well. Especially when you reach a level that you actually, the verdict doesn't look like what it belongs to you. The results don't look like they belong to you, but yes, that is the verdict of the people, and I must thank the people of Uasin Gishu County. Nilijaribu, nikaenda pale, tukafika kwa wananchi, nikawa na imani ya kwamba nitaweza kuebuka mshindi. Lakini ilipofika mwisho, wananchi wakaamua wakasema hajanitosha, sijatosha unga kwa sasa. So kwa hivyo niko hapa anatuliza machungu yangu polepole, lakini najua kwamba lazima nijikakamue ili niweze kuendelea na maisha.
Samuel Mugo, popularly referred to as Sam Keys, lost to Janet Sitenei of UDA. So how is he coping with the loss?
Eneo la bunge la Tarbo liko na ward 6 na sehemu hii ni kubwa sana. So in terms of expenditure nimeweza kutumia pia fedha nyingi kwa mambo ya branding, kuingia kwa ground, kupanga mambo mingi, kuko na mahitaji tofauti sana kwa ground. So labda nikikadiria sana ile, labda siwezi kuwa na the figure kamili, lakini nikikadiria matumizi katika kampeni zote, naweza sema labda nilikadiria inaweza kuwa nilitumia kama milioni 10. Na hiyo ndio ningependa kusema wengi ambao wametumia pesa campaign ni very exhausting, wanatumia pesa. So ningependa kusema pia labda uchungu ambaye wengi wanaweza kuwa nayo ni ile expenditure ambayo mtu ametumia na labda ijarudi hakupata kiti.
But now for those who lost, how can they cope? We join a psychiatrist from Eldoret, Dr. Edith Koba. Hi, Doc. Just tell us, how can they cope with this loss?
First is to encourage them that for every competition there must be a winner and a loser. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and unfortunately this was a time for them to maybe lose the election but start other things. So to keep hope alive, that there are still other opportunities in life, and to keep peace. I first want to wish well everyone who was contesting and lost, because it's not a very easy time, and to congratulate everyone who won this election. And I'm sure there are more results that are coming out, so even those who will win and lose, we really wish for them well. And from a mental health perspective, especially talking about those who have lost, first we want to let them know that we know it's not a very easy season. People have invested time, people have invested energy, some people have left their jobs, some people have had difficulties with the relationship because of the times that they had to invest so that they can do their campaigns, and that comes at a cost. And most of them, I'm sure everyone who went out to contest was hopeful that they will win, and here comes a loss. What do they do with it? One, I want to encourage them to validate their feelings, whatever it is that they feel. Whether you feel sad, you feel frustrated, you feel hopeless, whatever it is you feel right now, it's valid, because it's a normal reaction to an abnormal situation. It's a very challenging time in a personal life when this happens. Once you acknowledge that you feel whatever it is that you feel, then you ask yourself what happens next. And one of the most important things is to give yourself time. Like any loss, like loss of a person, like when someone dies, someone feels sad, initially there are all those steps. You first of all don't believe that it actually happened. So if you're feeling that, that's part of grief. Then after some time you bargain, you start thinking maybe you could go to court and maybe there's a chance. If you go to court, you'll get a chance. And with time, as healing begins, and this comes with time, you get to a point where you can begin to accept. And then when you accept, you must ask yourself, so what do you do? Number one, first of all, you must be alive to everything you continue to feel. And it's not an overnight healing. Healing takes time. And so sometimes you will keep going back to the events of your campaigns, the events of whatever happened the last several months, and asking yourself, what did you do wrong? And that's still okay. So acknowledge when those thoughts come. Mostly they will be negative. Acknowledge that you're feeling them. If you can, share them with someone, a confidant. Don't share with the whole world. The whole world doesn't care. Actually, right now you realize there's some people who are celebrating your loss. So you don't have to put them, for example, on social media. One of the things we encourage is you talk to someone who probably was your support system, and let them know what you feel. And at times when you talk, you realize that you begin to look for solutions while you are sharing, even your own, as you think through what happens next. You think through solutions, but also your friends, your colleagues might give you ideas of how you can move on. Then the other important thing is to especially notice when there are severe mental health symptoms that are persisting, because for some people it's a life event, and that can trigger other mental health issues like depression, where you continuously feel sad, you can feel hopeless, you can feel like it's the end of it, and you feel like there's no need to go on. That could be a sign of depression. And it's good that if you feel like that, you actually seek professional help, because help is available.
I was hoping for the best, but I was also preparing to lose. Because, you know, in any competition, there is always a winner and there will always be a loser. I am a software engineer by profession, and I've started going back to my private life. I've seen others, skari yao imepanda juu, wameshikwa na mshtuko wa moyo mpaka wako hospitalini saizi. But for me, I thank God because I was prepared, and I'm doing well with my private life that I was doing even before running for office.
Hii sio mwisho ya maisha. Maisha pia lazima itaendelea. Na kwa sababu nilikuwa kwa chama ya Azimio, namwombea pia kinara wa chama ambaye ni Raila Amolo Odinga, pia namwombea ushindi, ili sisi kama ambao tuliwania kwa viti za hapa zile za chini pia tuweze kukumbukwa kwa mambo za pale, kama ni mambo ya kazi na mambo mengine ya chama.
Unajua hii ni kama nipata potea. Every investment has a risk. Unajua kuna risk. Especially kwa siasa kuna risk. Hata wale saa zingine kuna mahali unatafuta pesa unaweka mahali pengine, alafu watu wanakufanyia wash wanakuibia pesa, basi inakuwa hivyo. So ni vizuri tu kujua kwamba kama umetoa hiyo pesa, ukubali tu yangu imeenda hivyo, hata mimi nakubali yangu tu imeenda hivyo, lakini naamini ya kwamba watu wasingishu kama nitaweza kurudi kuomba kura siku nyingine, wanaweza kufikiria, lakini hata nisiporudi nitajisikia mimi mwenyewe nilijitokeza kuwafanyia watu kazi.
Affected, you're becoming irritable, notice yourself. So continue to be self-aware so that you notice when there are severe symptoms that require help. Then the other important thing is to remain positive. This is it. You have lost, and that is not small, and we can only imagine how that feels. But what we know is that you're still alive and well. You had an ambition. You probably had some resources, because not everyone is able actually to put up a campaign. So congratulate yourself for daring to dream. But now that that has gone, what do you do maybe the next 5 years before you can reignite the dream again? I'm sure you had a business, this work that you're doing before that. The most important thing, and we encourage this to happen as soon as possible, is to normalize the situation. You have lost. You accept the feelings, you accept to go through the stages of grief, but you normalize the situation as much as possible. Go back to your business. Go back to your usual interactions with people. Go back to work. If you hadn't resigned, I pray that you hadn't resigned, but if you had, then maybe this is an opportunity also to say, so what happens? Because remember, you have spent a lot of money in the campaigns, but your children need to feed and life has to move on. So how do you continue earning a living? So make sure that you're normalizing the situation by adapting into the new environment. Then the other thing we encourage is that don't listen too much to things like social media and a lot of, because one of the things is there are a lot of bloggers, there are enemies out there who are very happy to put very negative information against you. And we have seen people have been bullied. Cyberbullying, we assume, sometimes happen only amongst children and school-going people. But the truth is it can also happen among adults, people calling you names and telling you why they're happy that you have lost and reminding you of things you may have said. So if you can minimize the amount of time that you're looking at this negative information, especially about you. Then the other thing that we say is, we call it behavioral activation. Get out, avoid staying alone. At this point, when you are feeling lost, when you sit alone, you realize that there are a lot of negative thoughts that keep coming and they keep going in cycles, and you think about it. The same thing you thought about yesterday is the same thing that is coming today. That's called rumination, going over and over. So what we encourage is get out. The sun is still shining, vehicles are still moving, and when you do that, you distract yourself. In Kiswahili we say jipe shughuli.
Maybe your last word as well for the presidential results.
I think his mind is to encourage all of us Kenyans to maintain peace regardless of who wins or who loses. Kenya belongs to all of us, and life must continue regardless of the status of the candidate we are supporting.
Thank you so much.
The other important thing that we want to tell people is this is the truth. There can only be one winner. And we need to continuously keep telling ourselves, there is no way there are going to be two presidents in Kenya. And you need to remind yourself, well, you wish that the person you supported is a person who wins. There's a high chance, there's a 50% chance, because there are two chances, that it will not be yours. So prepare yourself in advance to wake up one of these fine days to news that your candidate did not win. That way you will not be very anxious. So don't imagine that it's either do or die. My candidate must win or I die. You will not die. Trust me.
That was Dr. Edith Koba, a psychiatrist. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Gabriel Kudaka and Smriti.